COVID-19 has greatly affected campus life, especially right here at Marist College. Classrooms and hallways are empty, dining halls aren't dined at. Students are beginning to wonder after a month-long pause, when is it going to end?
My name is Sarah Lynch, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Marist Circle. The Circle has established a really great communication with the student body as well as the larger Marist community. So we've been hearing student and community responses since the beginning of the pandemic, and we've received a great variety of sentiment. But I would say at the moment, students in particular in the comments section of our posts are extremely frustrated with first the administration's handling of the recent outbreak and surge in cases, and second, they're really disappointed in their peers. As far as the administration goes, I've had the opportunity to speak with Executive Vice President Jeffrey Brackett on multiple occasions, as well as received communication from other members of the administration. And the line they've been repeatedly using in recent weeks is cautiously optimistic. But they are at this point, in Deb DiCaprio's recent emails, saying that they're not seeing the decline in those active cases that they really hoped that they would. And I think students can say the same, and they have been saying the same in our comments. This is a pause unlike anything we experienced in the fall semester. From the Circle's reporting side, we're trying to stay on top of, delivering the most up-to-date information to the student body.
This most recent campus pause has seen the decline in many usual student life activities. None have been hit harder, though, than in-person dining. What was once a bustling dining hall is now empty, filled with nothing but old chairs and tables. What was once a buffet-style cafeteria is now empty lines spaced out for social distancing. A new addition to Marist this year, thanks to COVID, is quarantine housing.
Conklin Hall is a dormitory used by Marist to quarantine its students. I had to go there before the beginning of the spring and fall semester for 2 weeks because I come from a high-risk state that is not connected to New York. At first it was a little scary to go to Conklin. I was pretty bummed out the beginning of the fall semester because instead of having a traditional college orientation, I had to quarantine for 2 weeks in a room full with 4 strangers. The communication with Marist was pretty bad. I remember most of my suite mates were just as confused as me. We didn't know when we were going to get tested for COVID or when we were going to be released until the day beforehand. They would just send us an email abruptly, and then that's how we figured out we could leave. There were plenty of mistakes made by Marist. For example, 3 girls were assigned to a 2-person bedroom. Also, when we had to leave, they completely forgot about one of my suite mates. She had to call in herself and schedule her own COVID test so that she could leave quarantine.
Student life is not the only thing affected by COVID, as professors are also dealing with restrictions.
So my name is Robert Julian, and I'm an adjunct professor at Marist College, teaching mainly digital toolbox. I think they're doing a pretty good job given the craziness that is COVID, that we don't have there's nothing to look back at other than the flu pandemic, in 1918. So I think giving all that, I think Marist is handling really well, and I think the students are handling pretty well. We only hear of the bad cases, but we never hear of all the great cases. The overwhelming majority of students that are not getting sick and are following all the rules. Well, this year compared to others, yeah, it's very difficult because of all the adjustments you have to make. And the thing about something like COVID is that you can do everything right, but if someone doesn't do it, you can be affected by it. So it's very different. The campus is not as alive as it usually is. Like, as it's warming up, like right now, this would be filled with students, and like, there's a sound to pre-COVID campus. There's a sound in this building that, you know, perhaps because I'm a sound person also, like I can hear it differently walking outside. I mean, you walk outside now on an average Tuesday, it feels like it's a Saturday. So yeah, it's very different. It's very different.
Despite the challenges, optimism prevails.
I do feel safe. I mean, there's very good rules. Everybody's wearing their mask, everybody's washing their hands. There's a lot of space. It's a big campus. So, you know, this particular room is pretty big. So yeah, I do feel safe.
It's been really gratifying to be in this role, and I often say it's a heartbreaking time to be a college student, but it's a really awesome time to be a college reporter.
I am glad that I'm on campus this semester. I teach one class online and I teach two on campus, and I do, I need to get out of the house also, and, you know, I need to go to places other than the supermarket. It's nice to go to get out and be in the campus. It's nice to see kind of like the students. I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of what life used to be. So yes, I'm very glad to teach some classes on campus.
You know, this is clearly not what I expected for a senior year. You know, heading into my Marist experience, I assumed senior year, you know, I'd have a New York City internship. I'd be, you know, out and about with my friends. We'd be planning a big graduation trip, going on spring break. And, you know, of course, really none of that came to fruition. But I think, you know, this point last year, we knew that we were losing the year. So it's not like a new disappointment, and we've been able to adjust our expectations from there. But I feel really lucky to live where I do. I have great roommates who I've been obviously spending a lot of time with during the pause, but it's been enjoyable nonetheless. And I get to look outside my window at the Hudson River every morning and have my coffee. So there are simple joys, and I think that that's the underlying theme of this year. And I love Marist, and why I came to love Marist, besides Broadway trips and besides, you know, the promise of getting to go to Florence and all those things, it's really the people. If it wasn't for the people, I wouldn't feel nearly as passionate about the school as I do. And so that has continued, luckily. So that is the bright spot in all of this. But yeah, no, it has been a really challenging year, I would say, for my entire class. It breaks my heart to read those posts about the athletes whose seasons, you know, that they were preparing for actually didn't get to come to fruition this semester due to the pause. And I'm in the music department, and we haven't sang in a year. You know, we go and we hum with masks on, and now during the pause, we can't even do that either. So there's a lot that has been lost. And I look forward to the day when I get to visit Marist campus and see it alive as usual and as it should be.
Although restrictions are still in place and COVID still poses a very real threat, with the pause lifted and our numbers trending in the right direction, we may very well be on our way to having our once lively campus brought back to life once again. We remain optimistic. We may just have our Marist campus back soon.